Innovation is the change that unlocks new values. To deliver a speech on You Can Innovate, let me invite Mrs. Sugandha Srikanteswara, Program Director, Mobility and Emerging Technology, IBM. She leads IBM Mobile First for Indian Software Lab. She manages product management and development of a suite of offering in mobility, enterprise integration, and transaction processing in ISL. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome her with a huge round of applause. Invest your time and innovate yourself.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sugandha. I'm from IBM. I actually like to say I'm an IBMer. I started off with this specific video clipping because I felt it communicated a lot. It kind of emphasizes on the fact that innovation is everywhere, right? So the topic that I picked, yes, you can innovate. There's a reason. And before I go to that, I just want to say that I feel so humbled. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I feel so humble because there are so many esteemed speakers over here and such great people amongst whom. Yeah, and so I feel really good about it. So the topic I picked, You Can Innovate, basically my idea was, let me come and share with the key audience over here, which is the faculty members as well as industry participants. Why is this important? I came from a background where I did, during my final year of engineering, a project which was, at that time, I felt quite innovative because I was doing a 3D, demonstration or graphic designing of certain mathematical components. Like if you combine two kind of shapes, what does it result in and how does it apply? So how do I do that? So I did that ages back, and then as I started working and started on my journey, I realized that I've learned a lot about how I can innovate and how is innovation different from invention, right? And all I thought was when I looked at this whole conference and the agenda, I'll share with you what's going on in the industry so that the faculty members can actually take this approach, take it back to the classrooms and sort of tell the students how they can think. And for the industry participants, the idea is when the colleges are collaborating with you or with us and when students come for internships, how we can give them assignments which are slightly different. So that's my whole underpinning reason for picking this topic, which is yes, you can innovate. Moving on. Okay, change is constant. We all know that. Change is very constant. I look at change with two eyes, and that's what the two eyes are: invention and innovation. So invention is something very unique. It's a new process you have thought of or a new technique that you have thought of. When we talk about invention, Einstein comes to our mind and several other great scientists come to our mind. When you look at innovation, it has a completely different definition. And this is something I picked from Wikipedia because I felt it was very easy to relate to. So innovation is more about how can you do something better, right? There's something already there, how can I do better? Innovation is more about doing something with something existing. So it's a continuous journey. Invention, you do it once and then the applications are varied and different. Whereas with innovation, it's an ongoing journey, it's a continuous journey. So if you really look at innovation, because I said it's a continuous journey, the whole idea is it's about being different. Innovation is about being different. Now, a very typical question when you step into your workplace or you're amongst your friends, you'll get a comment, oh, you look different today. Your immediate question is it good or bad, right? So innovation is also having the same connotation. So innovation is good. You want to be different, right? You want to do something which impacts your business, which brings out your value, but at the same time in a way that it matters. So let me show you something. I picked this up. This is about an innovation that happened. Someone thought, Shindugu, someone thought it was interesting to have a typewriter keyboard for an iPad. Now iPad, it came into existence with a purpose, there was a whole market created, and someone said, why don't I create this keyboard? It looked nice, it's innovative, it's different, but does it matter? Do you really want to use this? I guess not, right? The whole purpose of the tablet is defeated. So this was actually tagged as a very bad innovation. I believe it was last year or year before. So it's very important that while you think about innovation, it's about innovation that matters. It's not something you're just doing for the sake of doing, right? Now, what I understood about innovation over my journey, right, was there are several areas where you can innovate. The opening ad that you saw, it was about innovation in the marketing space. Right? I shared that because all of us over here, though we are associated with engineering background or we will go to an engineering institution or some other profession, medical or anything else, when we start our journey, we start at that level, but as we go further, we start taking different disciplines. It's because of the passion or the capability that is in us which drives us there. So if you look at the marketing one, that came from one of the an ideas that came from one of the persons who said, how about you take ads and make them relevant? So if you see people can sit, people can walk on a ramp and take, when trains as a shade. So that was innovative. So when I looked at innovation, I thought it's not limited to it's only technical. There's business innovation. In fact, in India, I see a lot happening around business, innovation in business. And I think we need to change that to see more around technical and technology. Mr. Lakshmi Narayan mentioned, there's a lot of acquisitions happening. In fact, in the last 6 months in India itself, I read about 6 of them. They're company startups in India which got acquired because of their niche focus in a technical space. But if you also see, there's a lot more booming on a business area. So 2 facets of innovation, you have business and you have technology. What I like to do is share some of the business innovations that have happened. How did people go about it? So my idea of sharing this is to tell you the thought process that is happening, right? Like how can you look at things? What do you do when you look at certain domains and industries that are going on? So let's look at this. I'll do a show of hands. How many of you have not bought anything from an e-commerce site? I changed my question, guys. I didn't ask how many of you have bought, because I feel everyone does that. So how many of you have not bought anything from an e-commerce site? 1. Okay, the light needs to go off, that way I can see. Actually, I don't see much hands. Wow, this is what I expected, right? So several of you have already visited the sites and made your purchase. If you really go back and think what happened, right? Someone felt, how can I take this whole industry, where people are buying, they want, they want the goods to go to the consumer, they want the consumer to be sitting wherever they can and making their purchase decisions. Somebody thought about that, right? That was an area when it happened first, people were skeptical. We are all skeptical. How can I purchase? You know what? Someone is going to know my critical information on finance, my cards and all that stuff. But somebody said that was a very innovative thing. Let me take that and I make a whole business out of it. In fact, when I was reading about, Amazon coming out with its phone, why another phone? There's so many people who are, manufacturing cell phones and mobile phones, smartphones, all kinds of things. Why is Amazon thinking about it? So I kept reading. I was curious. Why are they thinking? That's when I figured out they want to provide the specialized retail experience to a group of their customers. So probably, I'm guessing, so I don't know what is happening, this is all from my reading, right? I'm guessing that what they're thinking is their consumers who buy those phones will have information which will enable them to make quick purchase decisions, and the whole loyalty factor sticks and continues. I'm just thinking loud, right? So the way they completely revolutionized, and if you thought they just stopped with e-commerce, I was amazed when I read about the drones, right? They have an R&D unit which is focusing on making e-commerce better. That's amazing. That's like they've taken innovation to a different dimension, right? Missed calls. How do we use missed calls? When we know we have run out of charge on our phones, we're like, oh, I need to talk to somebody, leave a missed call, I'll call you back, stuff like that, right? This person thought, I'll make a whole business out of missed calls. And this is very interesting. I don't know if you've gone and read about zip dial. It's very interesting, and they have used it as a marketing technique. So enterprises have signed with them. They have a platform, they have an offering, wherein what you do is when you show an ad, or you're putting up even a physical ad, right? The idea is you go and leave a missed call at this number. This particular offering from this company takes those calls. There's a lead analysis done and then given to the enterprises, who can then go and do their follow-up calls, make their sales and all that stuff. So wasn't that interesting? Again, it's a missed call. It's a technology that already exists. Cell phones have missed calls. You can do missed calls with cell phones, but building a whole business model around it. Now that was innovation, right? So that's a business innovation. Now, these are a couple other examples, very interesting. We all know how banking has revolutionized, even over here. It's basically the existing approaches and methods that banks have. We have converted them and made them more usable, more engaging anywhere, anytime with the mobile revolution, right? And the next one is my favorite. Actually, this happens even with rental cars elsewhere. So basically, there are folks who own these big houses, and they want to, sort of advertise them as their bed and breakfast offerings. So what they said is, how do I go and make it easy for me? So Airbnb, you can go and look up. They devised a whole commerce platform, a whole model around this, where people can go advertise their space, and then people can look up, travelers can look up, sign up and go and stay there. So a whole new way, very simple, they could just get on there and start having their business going. So this is one of our favorites, and this is very recent too. There's a lot of stuff we have done, a lot of inventions, a lot of innovations. The latest is this one. It all started like the way world knew about Watson was more because of this quiz show, this game called Jeopardy. It's a very different quiz show in which you have to ask the question for which the answer is displayed. So it started with that fun thing. That's how everybody got to know about Watson. But there was a lot behind Watson. There was a whole roadmap, a whole approach that our researchers had on how Watson could be used. Lakshmi Narayan actually referred to this. He spoke about genetics being important and how you can prescribe medicines, right? If you knew this person needs only this much dosage of medicine, why give the standard dosage? So if you really look at it, Watson is being used to sort of get that information. It can actually digest so much information about different patients and has all the other information about the medicines and diagnosis and clinical studies and all that the hospitals can actually take advantage of it, doctors can take advantage of it, and can do the specialized treatment for each individual. We haven't reached a stage where we can make it available for the mass, but we have started the journey, and this is something we are very proud of, something which wouldn't have happened if we didn't look around what is happening, right? So though we started with a fun, with a game thing, the applications are numerous. So if you look at this, this is what Watson can actually read. You train the system, it can actually read this many records in just 6 seconds. And imagine if you empower your doctors with this information, how useful it would be for people to get the treatment that's really applicable for them. Changing winds. This is another favorite of mine. And the reason I want to share it over here is to say that we have always believed innovations happen elsewhere. And then we'll take it, we'll adopt it and use it. What I've also realized is innovations are happening in the emerging geographies, including us, which are being taken and adopted by people in other developed nations, right? So that's why I have this whole idea of changing winds or reverse innovations. There is a speaker from GE Research, I believe, later in the afternoon. I don't know if he's already arrived, but maybe you could talk to him in detail later. The first one that I show you here is this ECG monitoring equipment, right? So guess what? In India, taking this whole technology, taking ECG to rural areas was very difficult. And GE thought of this, right? They said, okay, how do I take this huge equipment, create this portable device, and take it to the rural areas? That's how this whole thing started. But people started realizing, oh, this is important, and the developed nations are using this as part of their connected healthcare and stuff like that. So this started in an emerging geography. This was not something that was thought of and conceived in a developed nation. A reverse, innovation principle. Low-fat Maggi, our atta noodles and everything, right? It all came because there was a local need, like how do I, create a product which resonates with the local audience. And because of the low-fat and whole grain nature, not that I'm a big fan of Maggi, but the principle was very interesting, that people in the Western world thought this was a diet food, and the business took off. Honey, this is our traditional treatment, right? We take honey when we have a sore throat. And so the localized medicine was created, saying Vicks went and created this, which is cough syrup with honey, took off great in Latin America, of course, India and everywhere else. So it's all about, look at what is happening around. Sometimes they have an application elsewhere. Reverse innovation, very key. So what we saw till now is examples of what happened. How do you think about business innovations? New models for business, how do you look at technology which has fueled new business models, right? I just gave you examples. I just wanted to show you how people are thinking different. My belief is this doesn't happen one fine day when you step into the corporate world. It starts anytime, maybe right after you're born. So if you really see, the first step of innovation is be curious. If you really watch your kid and you don't go and stand in the way of your kid when they are, trying to figure out what is happening, learn how to stand up, go, meddle with a toy, you just stand back and watch. They are learning better than if you would go and show, this is how the toy operates, take a look at this. That's not the way, right? Let them try it out. And if you really start imbibing that in you, that I want to be curious, I want to learn what is happening, you are already in the path of innovation. You're thinking, because the minute you get curious, you start questioning. That's what happens next. You start asking questions. Okay, why can this not be done this way? So an example, right? The wearable gadgets. So I lead mobility and emerging technologies. So I start looking at all the gears, the watches, and I'm like looking at banking domain, I'm looking at healthcare domain, and I'm like, okay, what are my applications for all this? There's something on the net that you read, the manufacturers themselves are selling, saying how you can use this. But then what are the logical ways of really applying this for different industries is what I start thinking and questioning. And if I don't do that, if I just imbibe or if I don't even read, there's no way I'm going to come out with new ideas and new solutions that we can go and offer to our clients. So asking a lot of questions, very, very important. Questioning assumptions, and I think it's probably symbolic, the Apple thing, and several speakers have mentioned it, right? Steve Jobs created the market. He didn't go and study, oh, you need a tablet, oh, you need an iPod. He said, I'll go create the market. So don't go with the norm. Question, why is it there? Can we challenge it, right? So very, very important. Thinking sideways. I don't know how many of you have seen the bingo ad and wondered, have you seen the bingo chips ad? Have you wondered what it has to do anything at all with the real product? It actually has nothing to do, but it catches your attention. That's the whole idea of innovation. Sometimes when you sit back and you're looking at, okay, this product is there, what are its other applications? In fact, some of the examples that I shared before, they all had this sideways thinking. So I like the idea of, a previous speaker who mentioned about his son and his friends collaborating on Facebook for a solution to the chemistry problem. One of the startups I met, Cram Buddy, that is their whole notion. It's about how can we get together and bring the students together and get them to learn. And guess what they also thought? So they just didn't say, let me solve the thing of let me get students together to learn on a certain topic. They took it to the next level. They said, I will quiz you guys. You're a student group. I will have pop quizzes for you. And when you win, you collect points. They're not like giving you cash and everything right away. You can collect points, and then there's a way to redeem the points. Isn't it fun? As a group, you enroll, you study, and you're rewarded too if you show off that you can do well, right? So thinking sideways, they didn't just stop with let me bring a community for studying. They said let me take it to the next level where education comes as a quiz stuff. Try something new. I think we all do this, so I won't spend much time on this. Challenge yourself. I really like this one. I love relating to practical examples because I feel as students and teachers we can show it to the student community, and students we all totally relate. We all watch TV a lot because it teaches us in different ways. So I like the ad that ITC has, right, the classmate product. They say you be the first you. It's like challenging yourself. So you have to never feel you're in a comfort zone. You need to always wiggle out. The minute you feel you're in a comfort zone, it means you have stopped thinking. So challenge yourself. Consider all possibilities, goes without saying. And this is my personal favorite, which is accepting failures. Unless you try and innovate and you fail, you won't even know what it is, right? So if the teachers, if the academic institutions can have a way of where you do recognize people who have done well, but people who try to do something and the experiment failed, if there's a way you can pat them and say, you know what, you tried, now you know how to do it, the next one probably will be successful. So it's very important. This is something we follow in our organization, in my team I follow this. In fact, they are the people who get most opportunity to try different things. So celebrating failures is very important for innovation and continuous learning. So what I tried to show so far is it is important for us to be curious, asking questions, thinking all angles, all ways, and accepting failures. I'll close with this. You see the picture of our RGM, Vanita Narayanan, and she actually had this nice article on sachets, size innovations. So she said, innovations, don't think or be forced that it should be big bang. You can have them in sachet style or small quantities. So if you really look at the whole idea behind sachets, they grew a lot of the FMCG business. It made life easy for the sales folks to see, how much quantity more has to be supplied. It made life easy for buyers to go and say, my favorite thing is there, let me buy, and I don't need a big bottle of it, right? I myself like things in small quantities sometimes, like the jam, because it has to be left out. I prefer they are in small boxes than the big bottle to buy. So there was a whole revolution that came with the sachets that came into market. And I loved how our RGM tied it to innovation and said, innovation can be done in small quantities, and as you do that and you experience, you get into a big one. And these are, basically wanted to sum up. And the last point I wanted to tell is, for the institutions is innovation jams. So you all have competitions and everything, but think about innovation jams where you can just do, every month once, where people can get together and they'll think of ideas, and you walk away saying this is great or this is not great, and at a later time you can start implementing it. Think of jams. And for industries, when you take in students for internship, give them a platform so that they can innovate. A small one, anything, even in a textile industry, there's a lot you can do with mobile applications and textile. There's things around touch, fabric touch and stuff like that, right? Just an example I'm quoting because I remember my internship was with the textile industry. And before I leave, just some credentials. So I studied in Coimbatore Institute of Technology, and I thank everyone, my faculty members who made me what I'm here today. So thank you, and I'm open for questions.
So Q&A session.
I said ask.
The mic is available with the volunteers.
Yeah, there's a question. Can we switch off the light? I can't even see the person.
Hello ma'am, this is Thiru from ourbusinessladder.com. It was a nice presentation about the innovations. So my question will be like, there are a lot of ways that even the youngsters are doing a lot of innovations, but to my knowledge, a lot of innovations are stopped in some level because they don't know the right channel to reach, how to take it to the further levels. So could you please suggest, because a lot of college students and professors are here, so that will definitely help them to take their innovations to the next level, to make it simple to how to knock the right doors. Thank you.
Excellent question. I'm glad you asked. In fact, I had prepared this question when I came in. I thought if no one asked, I'll suggest it. So the way you can do is all the institutions, and I see it happening here, you are collaborating with industry bodies and industry leaders, right? The simple things you can start doing is when you're doing your jams, like I suggested, which you're already doing, see if you can involve the industry leaders in them. You can have both business and technical leaders. They are current with what is happening in the industry, and what you can do is ask them for their opinion. Don't allow them to strike off, okay? Don't do that. That's something I'm telling even in my team is no innovation is right or wrong. At this point of time, maybe I'm not knowledgeable to say it is useful. So get information, get your industry, the person you're collaborating with to share the business, the story that's happening or the technical stuff that's happening around the thought your student has. And based on that, you can take a decision of, yes, I want to go further in this, and then you can even pursue with that industry body. But you can take their advice, that is their job. We all do this as, as part of our job to know how current we are. So please do that, that will really help you. I hope it was in line. Yeah.
Madam, good morning.
Good afternoon.
So I think good afternoon. Sorry. You said about business, innovation and inventions. And there is one more term, and that's a business intelligence. What is the difference between these three things?
Yeah.
Business intelligence, you can relate with other two things also.
So you
Please.
said business innovation, business intelligence. What is the third thing you said? Sorry, three things.
Okay. Again, business innovations, inventions, intelligence.
Okay, so intelligence, I can start off with that. So intelligence is, when we look at business intelligence, and there are several products also available in the market which help people or companies with this. So we spoke about, Facebook and everything generating lot of information. Now, if you are able to derive information from it and take some actions, that is the intelligence you're deriving. That is the business intelligence you are acting upon based on data that is being generated. So that is the intelligence part, which is basically inferences and derivations that you have from data you're collecting. Innovations is basically what I spoke about, which is either you're trying to take your business to a new territory, to a new channel, extending your outreach, stuff like that. You said nuances, right? In between, the second thing? Okay, same thing, yeah. So that's how I differentiate. Innovations is more like current, something that you're trying to act on and trying to create a space. Intelligence is something which is there and you can use it to fuel your innovation or your business growth. That's how I look at it, and I think it works that way.
Great. I request Dr. Sudha, Ishwar Engineering College, to honor the guest speaker.
Excellent presentation.
Thank
you
you
for participating.
Sure, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sugandha Srikanteswara, for an inspiring speech.